What is up, my brothers and sisters? It's your boy Juice. It's hot today, very bright. Carville, Texas. Um, what I have to say today is a warning to Carville, Texas, and essentially San Antonio, Texas. It's really happening everywhere. And an event took place too in San Antonio, Texas, maybe a month before the floods here in Kerrville, Texas. And it was a couple of vehicles had gotten washed up. I think it was 13 vehicles. You could look up the story if you want. It was in San Antonio, Texas, and it was closer towards more towards the northern part of San Antonio, Texas. And so basically, the same thing happened there. It was raining, and in no time at all, a wall of water had washed towards one of the sections of the highway in San Antonio, Texas. And these people were explaining because a lot of people had received final phone calls from the victims as well. And they said that a wall of water had washed towards them and had swept their vehicles away. So some of those people had perished. And then you had survivors and final phone calls. These people essentially said a wall of water had washed towards them in no time at all. It was like a tsunami of water. Same thing happened here in Kerrville, Texas. And what you have is Kerrville and San Antonio. The soil in Kerrville and San Antonio and a lot of Texas areas is caliche mud. So you have essentially like a clay as soil. This clay does not absorb water. So you can look up some videos and stuff like that. And I was watching a documentary the other day, and they knew this in the 1800s when they were building these towns. So when they built Kerrville and San Antonio and the surrounding areas, they knew that the Guadalupe and all the channels and creeks and streams flow eventually into the Guadalupe. This is hence the name Flood Valley. So with that being said, Kerrville specifically, San Antonio, and certain other areas are now, there is a problem that has now been acknowledged. Well, it's not being acknowledged because the city knows this, but they're not going to tell you that. All of these places know this, but essentially they don't want you to get to the bottom of the real problem. And the bottom of the real problem is not that there's a lack of alert systems. It's just that now that the rain has come, right? Because you don't know that there's a problem until it happens. It's the same thing with the workplace, right? That's why there's rules. Well, Texas has been booming in population for the past couple of years, so much so that everywhere has approved of basically building houses and real estate. So they've built a lot and they've changed the land. And when you denude the forest system, essentially you have no vegetation to absorb that water. So this is called denuding and changing of the land. Now you've changed the landscape. Now you've denuded the forest. So now there cannot be any absorption. When it rains like it does, a thing happens called sheeting. And what it is the water sheets off the soil. You have all these hills, you have all these creeks, you have all these streams, and it doesn't really take much rain at all. The couple of videos that I made where it started raining again, it essentially flooded in 5 to 10 minutes. It's not that the soil is over-absorbed, because two things happen. We've been in a drought. So when it rains, because the soil is so dry, the water just sheets right off the soil. If you have too much rain and now the rain has absorbed, it also sheets off the land. And so you have all these hills which have little creeks and streams. This is why neighborhoods flooded that were away from the river, right? There's a village going towards Hunt called Bumblebee Village. They're nowhere, they're by the river, but not really. and their entire neighborhood flooded pretty much. I mean, they were on their roofs from a creek, right? So now we have hurricane season coming, and there's tropical systems that are appearing. And this is the second tropical system that I can tell you is about to form that is coming from the same direction, from Florida, and it's going to Texas. And I can tell you this much: if and when one of those tropical systems and or hurricane hits the Texas Gulf Coast and comes to Kerrville, the flood is going to happen again, if not worse. And because now the Guadalupe River here in Texas especially has altered and changed. And when Mother Nature decides to retake her land, she's going to do so. And you're going to find out that there's ancient creeks and ancient riverbeds that you were not aware of, because the water hasn't gotten that high since then. Well, believe me, ladies and gentlemen, it is going to happen, and Mother Nature will retake her land, and the beasts will take control again.